My name is Myra Soboloff. I'm 91 very, very long years, and I came to New Orleans in 1948. Snug Harbor became a haunt of mine some years ago, and I went there regularly, not ever having met the person that I just glommed onto once I heard him play. That was Henry Butler. But I went with a friend, and frequently we did go. The jazz was wonderful, and I became a real fan of the place. And one night when I went with her, she said, "You're really going to love the artist tonight." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yep, you're not going to be able to sit in your chair. You're going to be jumping, tapping your feet, tapping your fingers, and you just will love it." Well, before he came on, I saw all these children sitting up in the balcony. And so I asked someone, "What are these kids doing here? They're underage. This is a bar. What's going on?" There were about 10 or 15 children sitting up there. So it was explained to me that these were blind teenagers. They called them Henry's kids. And he took them everywhere because he was passionate in his belief that children who were unsighted should be a part of all the activities that sighted teenagers were found available to them. So he took them everywhere, to movies, art museums, and to the big bar. They were sitting upstairs and hanging eagerly over the side, waiting to hear him.
And you followed him around town?
Ever after, I followed him around. Wherever he went, I went with a friend who knew him well. And she would call me when she saw his publicity, and off we'd go. Usually it was in a French Quarter or at, what was his name, Erwin Mayfield's club, or mostly at the place we were. So,
Snug Harbor.
Snug Harbor.
Did you tap your fingers and wiggle your toes?
Well, that was what was so interesting to me. The minute he sat down on that chair, his right foot began on the pedal and his left foot was stomping. It stomped all through every piece of music. It never stopped. And pretty soon, mine were going too. The beats were just irresistible. And the whole picture of him taking these kids all over and sharing his music with them and his concern and care of them, it just really got me. I was snared forever.
So in that way, Henry Butler's music changed your life.
Absolutely, no question about it. When they said Henry Butler, I had physical reactions. He began to pump my foot, and my heart would beat according to the music he was playing. And he was such a glorious player, such ability and variety and management of the keyboard. I was fascinated by that. How could this man play so quickly the whole keyboard and for so long without knowing that he could see the keyboard? I could never understand that. I was so impressed with him. And as a person as well, even though he had absolutely no vision, when you met him, he would smile and greet you just as though he had full vision. It was truly a remarkable thing that he was able to do.
So how many years have you been following Henry Butler?
Oh my goodness. How about at least 20? I think that. Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. And most recently?
Well, nothing very recently, because he's gone to New York. He was destroyed in Katrina. All his material was destroyed. His piano was destroyed. His home was destroyed. It was just a devastating experience. And a friend out in Colorado, I think it was, invited him to come there for shelter until he could get his feet on the ground again. And so he left here and he went there and stayed there for a time. But I think more recently he's wound up in Harlem. And when he comes, which is not so often, the friend who told me about him in the first place calls me, and we get down there. to hear him.
Tapping your toes
Tapping
and wiggling
toes,
your...
wiggling toes, and whatever else can be possible.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Myra.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.